I made product that wasn't honest to myself
Yeah.
because I thought people would buy it. And I went to go sell it. No one cared because they probably sniffed that out. And I learned, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to sit on 100 posters. I'm going to make the shit that I like. And when I see them walking around with them, I'm going to be proud that I like that design. And I'm not instantly shamed because I did some bullshit that no one liked.
Thank you for being a pal.
What's up, pals? Welcome back to another week of Pentool Pals, a friendly graphic design podcast between two graphic designers. My name's Cole from Cole Up Design.
And I'm Canvas Cam with Canvas Design Company. Welcome back to the podcast.
Stoked to have you guys with us on another week. We're going to do a lot of cool things today and another cool guest.
Yeah.
But before we get into the guests, I want to do a quick shout out to this week's Pal of the Week. Thanks so much for your submission.
Yeah. Wall of Pins.
At Wall of Pins.
Yeah.
Awesome work.
Stoked on it.
Anyone out there who is looking to get some creative juices flowing and take a step away from their client work and do something for yourself/us, we are looking for Pals of the Week. So tag us, hashtag us. We're stoked to see what you come up with.
Yeah, super stoked on that submission for Pal of the Week today from Wall of Pins. I feel bad because I overlooked one, and next week we'll have another Pal of the Week submission. But a common Grackle, he said that he's going to make a new one. He did one a while back that was like a maze design, and it was super sick. And so I was like, oh, sick, I'll post that next week. And he goes, nah, I'm going to make a new one. So there we go.
Sick. Well, I'm stoked to see that.
Yeah.
Stoked to see you watching your submission that you're going to do this week or next week. And yeah, Pal of the Week. Don't forget.
How's your week, Cole?
I
mean, it's Monday. We're recording on a Monday, but
yeah.
How's your Monday so far?
This has been a crazy Monday. My life has been kind of like topsy-turvy because I've been in the process of selling my house, and I know that this is not House Pals, so I won't get too much into that. But glad you like that one.
House Pals, good.
But yeah, it's been tough trying to balance like getting my house ready and client work and this and that. But yeah, it's been a lot. What about you, Cam?
No, this last week has been really, really smooth. And I remember we talked about it last week, but I got that job done in about 2 hours, and that was a really good feeling. And it's kind of been like that. I keep telling myself when I find myself in a rut, just draw. Just draw.
Yeah.
And that's what I've just been kind of telling myself. And I picked up a really quick job that needs to be done like this Friday. And I was thinking, like, do I have time to kind of fit this in with all the other stuff that I've got going on? And I just told myself, just start drawing it. When you have some downtime or you're waiting on approval from another job, just draw. And I've had that same like idea for all the other stuff that I haven't at least gotten to yet. And I feel like I'm just tackling one after another. So it's been really smooth. Right now I'm chasing down some invoices. That's stressful.
Happens.
But yeah, daddy's got to get paid.
I hear you, man. Yeah, chasing invoices is never fun.
Yeah, well, and I'm going out of town with some friends this weekend.
Nice.
And it's just, hey, we need that paid because I need some money.
Daddy's got to pay for some beers.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that actually reminds me. I'll give a quick shout out to the agency Code 4. I've been working with Jackie from Code 4, and she's been awesome. But we're doing the branding and apparel and merch for the Pacific Air Show, which is locally here in Huntington Beach on this Friday, where a bunch of like all the big jet planes, like the organized jets, go and fly up and all that stuff. So we did like 8 or 9 t-shirt graphics to sell for merch, hats, all that stuff, hoodies, jackets, zip ups. So it's been a lot of work for that, which is great because I haven't posted anything yet, and so like I will soon be posting. Hopefully, it's like cool stuff too that we get from the show on Friday. So we're gonna go out there, hang out, and there's a concert at night that we possibly are going to as well. So
nice.
Sick. Yeah. Civic Air
So it's always fun going to events that you've at least designed something for. Like I designed the logo and poster for the Keysville Classic. It's a bike race in Kern County. And it was so cool seeing, I didn't physically go, but it was so cool seeing pictures with, this logo put up on the side of things, and it's on shirts, it's on, beer glasses and stuff like that. But it's always cool. Like the logo I picked up that I have to get done this week is for a music and beer festival.
Oh, sick.
So I'm gonna go to that, and I can't wait to go see it in physical. It's gonna be
absolutely. That's a sick one.
Hopefully get some free beer.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna like we talked about the other week with Joshua Noom. I'm gonna be like, hey, did you see that? I did that.
Yeah, that kid. Yeah. We're talking about that meme, like the kid in the party hat. Yeah. We gotta find that. Hopefully, we'll just put it up here.
Oh yeah, dude. I have to. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be that guy walking through this beer festival, going like, I wonder if they knew that I designed the logo.
Exactly. Well, this week we've got an epic guest, such a talented artist and duo with their side project in apparel company Hellcats. Yep. But we have Clark Orr coming on the show today.
Super stoked.
Yeah, Clark is so talented. I mean, he does some amazing badge lockups, type, illustrations, and their merch for Hellcats is absolutely insane.
It's like, it's so good. Like, I'm speechless. It's so good. I'm stoked to talk to him because like he's worked for so many different people, from Disney, Marvel, all the way to like Target. I told my girlfriend, like, oh yeah, we have this guy on the podcast this week. He designed all the spooky stuff that you like to see at Target. And she was like, oh my God, I'm actually really stoked on this one.
Yeah, well, without further ado, let's get him into the chat. Yo.
Hey, Clark, what's going on?
Check
1 2.
Check microphone. Check it.
This is ridiculous, right?
What? That you're flying a jet, or are you making graphics?
Yes. Smart. Let me try.
There we go. Jesus Christ. Hey, guys.
Oh, what's up,
Clark?
Hey, I'm Clark Orr. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for joining us on the pod.
Honored to be on here. You guys seem fun already, so let's go.
Yeah. How you doing, man? How's your day going?
I'm good. Yeah, today's my day off, so got to run a bunch of errands and take care of some stuff. I think I'm a few hours ahead of you guys on the East Coast here. I'm in Orlando, Florida, so it is a sweltering 85 degrees right now. It's
nice. We're kind of close. Like Bakersfield is. I think you guys have it a little bit more humid, but we get the same temperature. Yeah. But yeah, we appreciate you coming on so late in your day, especially on your day off. So
well,
I can have you on.
It's good. I feel like you're always repping like the coolest Hellcats gear of all time. I'm literally on your shop like as we speak, and when we get off in these next couple episodes of Pentool Pals, I will be wearing this cat mascot hat, gray wool.
Nice. We just got those restocked. Hellcats is the brand that me and my wife started like a little over 5 years ago. And that's where I'm at now. I'm in the back of our shop. We have the studio and kind of workspace in the back. But yeah, Hellcats is our brand, our baby. It's our life, I guess.
I was gonna ask, how long ago did you and your wife meet, and then like when was like the transition into realizing that you wanted to create a brand together?
Yeah, we met in 2013. I was working at this t-shirt brand. It was based in Boston called Johnny Cupcakes, and I was working there as the was like the senior designer for like 10 years.
Okay.
But I was they're based in Boston. I was living in Orlando, or living in Central Florida, and I was kind of commuting and doing that. I was working full time there, and then freelance for a while, and then kind of back and forth a little bit. And then a friend of mine who runs a stationery shop here in Winter Park, which is right next to Orlando, called Rifle Paper Company. She hit me up to kind of be like an interim designer for the summer. So I went and worked there, and that's where I met Brittany, who's my wife and co-founder of Hellcats. So I met her there, and then we kind of reconnected like a year later, started dating. So I met her in 2013, and then the idea for Hellcats kind of came around in I'd say 2015, like mid 2015. Like I was kind of already making like stuff under my own name. I was making like art prints and buttons and patches and pins and stuff like that. And then my wife was running an Etsy shop. That was like her side hustle. So she was selling like vintage and kind of hand making her own clothes and like some wall hangings and stuff. So we both kind of had our separate like side hustles, for lack of a better term. And we were both doing events. Like we would show up, she would go to like a vintage market, and I would go to like a design conference or something and sell my stuff. So we both kind of had our like our own thing going on, but we're like really immersed in it and like knew what we were doing. Like we kind of had our stuff down pat. And then at a certain point, I kind of had like a moment of clarity, and I think Brittany really helped with that. That like I was making some really cool stuff, but none of it was really branded well, because I didn't mean for it to be. That's not what I was making. I wasn't really making my own brand officially. It was just products.
Just stuff you want to put out into the world.
Yeah, exactly. I was building on top of stuff, and it never fully like was a thing. So she had her thing going, and like Etsy featured her as like shop of the week or something like that. And it launched her Etsy shop like way further than what she was already doing. So she quit her job to focus on selling vintage and making her own stuff. So anyway, long story short, I was like, oh, I'll make something. It'll be like a little collab for your Etsy shop. I'll design it and screen print it, because I was screen printing in my side room in my house. And that idea like kind of led to like, what if we do this and what if we do that? And all these ideas kept building, and we basically took all the things that we learned that we didn't like from my business and her business, and we kind of put it together, because all my stuff was like kind of like masculine, I guess, and or like bold, and you know, it wasn't appealing to a lot of women, I would say. But then on the other side, she was making like hand painted shawls and like selling jackets that weighed like 10 pounds or whatever, and having to ship that to, you know, some other country or whatever. So we took the things that we didn't like and weren't working with our own businesses. We're like, all right, let's not ship heavy stuff. Let's make like really small stuff that both guys and gals will like, and make it branded and thoughtful, and kind of learn from our lessons or mistakes or successes or whatever, and put it into this new thing that was 50% Brittany and 50% myself. So
that's awesome, man.
That's kind of what started it. And that idea was mid 2015. And then we launched the brand about a year later, when we had all our stuff together. We did a Kickstarter, because we didn't want to pay any money out of pocket. Raised like I think like $3,500 just from people that were following us and kind of believed in us, and that was our seed money to start. So we've never used a credit card since, which has been
That's
I don't
fantastic.
know. It's sort of a point of pride, but it's also like probably I could be making better credit decisions, whatever. But it's kind of where we started, where we learned, and then you know, we've grown quite a bit in different ways since then. So that was 5 years ago, 2016 to now. So
nice, man.
That's
awesome. Some things are just better when you have a partner, man. Like, you know, I like what you said. You took the two best things about both of your businesses and you put them together. Like, That's awesome. And you have clearly that was successful in building Hellcats and all that stuff, because to see how big your brand has gotten, it's been great.
Yeah.
It's strange, like being, I always call it I mean, this is just some shit that I made up, but like the too close to see phenomenon is like you don't know what the thing looks like because you're so close to it that it's blurry. Right, but everybody else knows what it looks like because they're far away from it.
For sure.
So it's sometimes I get surprised. Like I'm very hands off of the business. So Brittany runs the business. I essentially just do the art and like order some stuff or whatever, kind of help out in the storefront and stuff. I haven't touched an email in years. So she handles all that. We have a operations manager and a production assistant. So I can't take a whole lot of the glory for sure. Like Brittany gets a lot of that and our employees and stuff. But the fact is, like, I'll hear something that's going on. Like I think that we're still a small company, which we are. We're a very small company, in fact. But like I'll just hear like a number or like so and so reordered or whatever from wholesale. It's like, didn't they order like a couple weeks ago? So we're starting to see
some return.
You have the fun, designy kind of the stuff we all want to do, and then you have like the figures and the numbers and all the annoying bullshit you have to keep up with.
Yeah,
I'm very detached from that. So when I hear that, I'm like, oh man, we're really doing. We're kind of doing something. It feels like it's
for sure
really working after all these years. Hey.
And it's like a labor of love in so many ways. I mean, like you're just putting out work that you've wanted to like do in general and have it be fun and having it just be successful because you're producing stuff that you like to create, and having people get behind that is the coolest thing you can do.
Yeah, for sure. And like having people like, we have people that come in and shop like, every day. Like we have someone from like a different state or like a different country coming in here, and it's like we're just one of the stops, while they're in Orlando. So it's very humbling, I guess, to be like, I designed this thing. My wife did all the work. Like there's just like all these like little Lego pieces that you like kind of snap together or whatever, and then people come and be a part of that. That's very just humbling, I guess.
We were joking before you came on in the show about, because like I'm going to an event on Friday that I made like all the merch for, and Cam's doing also an event coming up now for like the merch, and we've just been joking about like the graphic design, like the graphic designer that's like in the corner of a party, like asking like, or like in their head thinking if everyone else knows that we did the design, you know what I mean? So like if someone walks into your shop, I wonder if you're like thinking in my head, like, do they know I did the artwork,
Because I said I'm designing a logo for a beer fest, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to it, and I'm gonna probably more than likely I'm gonna get drunk and like, you see that I did that.
Yeah.
But it was like,
you totally should.
Well, because we were talking about it with Joshua Noom, and I said, I was like, did you just like go through Target and say like, oh, I did this on this Old Spice? I would have totally done that, but then it turned into all of that. But yeah, this beer fest, I'm gonna be like, do they think I?
Do they know I made them? Do they know I made the logo?
Do they know I made the logo?
Yeah, that is it is weird when you have something that's so visible that I stopped. I mean, to connect to that point, I've designed like probably thousands of t-shirts in my career in the last like 20 years or whatever, and it's not rare that I'll be somewhere or something and I'll see like if it's at like a punk festival or something, I might see like an old band t-shirt I did or whatever.
Yeah.
If you go to like Disney, you always see like a Johnny Cupcake shirt that I probably didn't design, but like in the past there was times when I would see that in like a really interesting situation. I'll be in a restaurant or something and I'll see someone across the way wearing a t-shirt I designed, and it's like, am I supposed to tell them I designed that? And here's why you don't, because 9 times out of 10 people are going to be cool about it and going to be like, oh no way, I love this shirt, I bought it, blah blah blah, and you'll connect and you'll make a new friend or whatever. But that 10th time you'll have the most awkward conversation of your life, and feel like I probably should never do this ever again.
Yeah.
So
because they don't give a fuck.
they because it's like imagine like you like being in some other industry or whatever, and someone coming up to you in like some weird reverse situation, you're just gonna be like, oh, okay, you know, like I don't have a good example, but like
Yeah, of course.
that's cool to all three of us, but that's not cool to like some dude trying to eat a sandwich in a bar or restaurant situation. It's just
may have not even dressed themselves, right? Who didn't even pick out a shirt. Like he's like, all right.
That's happened to me before. Someone was wearing a shirt that I designed, and I was like, I think I was at the bar or something, and I was like, oh, I designed that, and they're like, okay. It was just one of those moments where I was like, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The last time I ever did it, it's like, saw a guy wearing a t-shirt I designed. I was like, I'm at this taco stand and there's literally no one else around. Yeah. And I designed the thing. I remember drawing the thing.
Yep.
Hey, cool shirt, man. I designed it. My girlfriend gave it to me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
I think at the end of the day too, it's just like it's all about like us in that scenario. Like we don't necessarily have to tell them. Like we're just happy that someone else likes it, and then just like put ourselves on the line, like, and then be like, well, I hate this fucking thing. Like I'd rather I'd rather just believe that since they're wearing it, it means they like it, and then that's good enough for me.
For sure. Like I make jokes about being that guy that would be that guy that would be like, oh hey, I did that, but deep down I'm like, I don't want to feel that rejection.
Yeah. My Enneagram or my Myers-Briggs is like whatever the one it is that can't handle rejection, that's me. So like, if that's a 7 or 8 on the Enneagram thing, I don't. But yeah, I think the thing that is cool is like some of my favorite people, I guess I'll say, or some of my best friends I've met through doing that is like throwing out a frisbee, being like, hey man, I like that shirt you're wearing. I love that band or whatever. Yeah. You start talking and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I've just made a new friend or whatever. So I think there's a little hint, at least for me, a little hint of like, you appreciate the shit that I made. That's like even beyond like, you like this thing that I like. It's like, no, you like the thing that I helped create. And that's like kind of magic, right? It's like,
it is,
we're connecting on this level or whatever. Anyway, I don't know how worth it is to tell a stranger that you did the shit, at least that they're wearing or whatever. But I think you should try it once at the beer fest, see how it goes, and then
and then, I'm gonna walk around and I'm gonna tag you guys in the story of just walking around going, hey everyone, I did this.
Get up on the table with your beer mug.
Oh yes.
Make a toast.
I will make a toast. That'd be funny.
We are starting to get to the point, I guess, with the shop and maybe like online stuff. Like my wife was in Georgia on a trip like 2 months ago, and she like walked up to this coffee shop, and this girl, she wasn't even wearing like Hellcats stuff. This girl goes, oh, are you one of the owners of Hellcats? And she's like, oh shit, that's crazy or whatever.
That's awesome.
And then like that next day she's in a restaurant and she sees a guy wearing our hat. It's like, oh, that's what's happening, so like little things are happening like that where like I used to see that if I designed like a shirt for Nirvana that was sold in like a store or whatever, they sold 1,000 or thousands of those. So it's not rare to see that, but to see like your own shit like a different state is like kind of wild. So stuff like 100%. Weird universe stuff like that is starting to happen. But then like to your point, Cole, like we'll have people come in and be like, oh, this is kind of a cool story. Like, what's the story? And I'll totally realize it. Like, they don't know that I'm like one of the owners or whatever. And they'll be like, oh, you own this place? You seem like some idiot that just needed a job at a cool looking store or something. So we get that sometimes. Having to explain like where you're at, like in the store, we design all this stuff.
Yeah, you probably have your like script at this point, but Yeah, it's just great. I mean, I start like we talked about it on the podcast too that like it's very common that you meet other graphic designers and then like their upbringing is usually by starting a clothing brand or somehow creating some sort of merch apparel like for themselves. So it's just really cool to see someone like you who's done it in the space, doing it currently, and like it being successful. So I think that for people that are just starting out and that are watching this podcast, they could see you and be kind of like a the light
beacon of light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Some inspiration,
because most like graphic designers, like Cole was saying, we've talked about this on the podcast. I'm one of those graphic designers that started a clothing brand and then fell in love with graphic design and turned it into like more of a design studio. I started with Canvas Wear and turned it into Canvas Design Company. But a lot of graphic designers kind of lead into that way, kind of ditching the brand. But you seem to have captured both. You've got your studio and you've got your clothing brand. A lot of designers, including myself, would be really jealous.
Yeah. I mean, well, part of that is like me and my wife both equally, the thing that we share in common the most is like a DIY kind of ethic or like spirit is like, if you tell us we can't do something, we're going to prove you wrong and we're going to do a really good job at it. And
I love that.
Part of that spirit is like part innate, part, kind of upbringing or whatever, seeing, like my family do that for themselves or whatever. But you start to figure out like what makes sense for you and what kind of decisions will benefit your future. And like, a really good example is we were running our brand, out of our house. So Hellcats was being run out of 1,000 square foot house in the middle of Orlando. And we were running into issues where it's like, we can't order bigger products. We can't order t-shirts because where are we going to store them? We didn't want to have to get like a storage unit at the time. So we kind of eased into, we grew so slowly because we didn't want to like bite off more than we could chew. Because I've seen other people do that. I've seen friends go broke and have to like scramble like as a 30 something because they made a $25,000 investment in the wrong thing on themselves. It just didn't work. So I learned from that lesson. I took a little bit of that, took a little wisdom from this friend. I took what I learned at Johnny Cupcakes and like stored that in the back of my mind. And I started to look at what's a good scenario to be in. What are the things that I can invest in that I know aren't that big a risk. So it's like, if we either need to rent a bigger house or rent a separate space. We worked out of the house for a few years. I worked out of my house before that house for years and, didn't really take too much financial investment out and then a risk. And then you start looking at, okay, well, if I need to get a bigger house, that's going to be like $300 to $500 more a month just on that. How much is a separate space from that? Is it a couple $100 more than that if I could have my own space and then build that out and kind of make that its own part of our brand? So we did that. We rented out a really small space that was like 700 square feet or not even, I think. Oh no, it was like 450 square feet. It was so small. And we worked out there for like a year, and then we saw how much that investment cost. It's like, well, if we can't even really sell out of this place, how much more money could we make if we found a spot that was zoned for retail so we could build out a storefront? That was a little bit more than the other office space. So that we took that that risk, invested that. We had a little bit of money saved up from a lot of projects that I did from freelance. So we're able to split Clark Orr Design Company is able to split the back rent with Hellcats, which is, the rest of this. So this is a dual use space, like 550 square feet you can shop in, 600 feet we work in, we make stuff, we actually like make stuff right here, we ship stuff right here, we store all our product in the back. So it's not one of these things where all the decisions are flippant. Everything is very calculated.
Yeah.
And I just learned that from other people that are way smarter than me, like trusting my own instinct or us trusting our own instincts. So we're, could this whole thing be Hellcats maybe one day and then we have our separate space?
For
But
sure.
at this point, it makes way more sense to dual purpose this space and figure out different ways to generate revenue and interest and like connect with the community, help people out, in this space now. So when we first like signed the lease, it was like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then after like the first day or two of being open, it's like, oh, that wasn't a risk at all. This is like a smart move.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
it like flips on its head, at a certain point. There's the Malcolm Gladwell tipping point or whatever, and that hit about 4 years into running a business, and every day of running a business. So we don't push too many people out to go, go like rent a shop space, go rent a studio space. It's like you kind of gotta earn it. I know it's a shitty way to say it, but like you kind of gotta like build up to it, I guess is probably
absolutely.
No,
I think that a lot of people are going to appreciate you saying that and kind of walking them through your process of how that happened, because I think for so many graphic designers, we may have the creative side nailed down, but the business side gets lost in a lot of us.
Oh, for sure, dude.
And that question of like, well, how do I get started? Like, hey, I want to start a clothing brand, but like, how the fuck am I going to start renting an apartment or selling product? Like, do I do this online? All this stuff. So hearing from someone like you that's kind of been through that process and walking through the evolution of like, it is calculated. It's not just a blind move into renting space and then figuring it out as you go. It's like there's an evolution to each of these steps.
100%.
It's really important. And I think that even before that, I know that we kind of rolled right into Hellcats, but I'd love to kind of hear your evolution of like what life was like at Johnny Cupcakes and being a creative there. And then like there's probably I know that we kind of brushed over it, but like at some point you felt comfortable enough to step away from that and do it on your own.
Yeah. So I started studying graphic design in high school. So at like 2001 around there, I took a graphic design class. My dad's a sign painter, so he's a graphic designer.
Are we the same person?
Oh, is your dad?
We must be the same person because I started in high school. My dad was a sign painter. I've been around it my whole life.
No way, dude, that's crazy. That's really
awesome.
Bizarre. Wow. That's very special.
You guys both wear glasses, hats, and have beards, so
we are the same person.
You're a handsome gentleman as well.
You as well, brother. From
thank you. Stop. It's crazy. We'll have to talk about that after the podcast too some more. But I learned a lot from watching him and kind of understand layout and blah blah blah. All the good stuff that people are interested in after the Sign Painter documentary came out, basically, as I'm sure Cam has gotten as well. But I was into like punk rock and comics and skating and stuff from middle school into high school. I'm 37 now, so I was kind of in the golden era of like Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, X-Men, all that stuff.
Jesus, we are the same
led me into all. Graphic designers pretty much have a pretty similar thread. Definitely the sign painter thing is crazy. But,
sign painter thing is crazy.
We were raised around like really cool graphics, right? And, like if you're into comic books, like rad illustration, rad coloring, characters, story development, all that stuff. And then that moved into when you're whatever that age in middle school, high school, when you start to develop your own taste in media and like music and movies and all that stuff. Yeah. And I went direct, like, I went straight from like classic rock, like quick right into like punk rock and hardcore and heavy metal. So I was into like these extreme genres of music, but I didn't know how to play anything. And I knew I couldn't. I didn't have friends. It's not like California, like, you guys are.
I feel like I'm talking to myself because I had a ton of friends. I was in the hardcore scene. I ran a venue. I couldn't play an instrument to save my fucking life.
Yeah, that's probably why you ran the venue. Like
Yep.
music managers like probably aren't good musicians or musicians, like tour managers, like all that stuff. Like we become a part of the things that we're interested.
Yep.
And because we can't, if you love baseball, like you're probably gonna go to baseball games, right?
Yeah.
But like that doesn't mean you can like swing a bat or throw a baseball, right? So like I knew like I could go to shows and all that, but I wanted to be involved further, but I couldn't play guitar or sing or play drums or whatever. So my thing was like, I'll use the software that my dad uses to make a cool logo for a band or whatever. So this like hard right turn into like not good at music, not good at sport, or I was fine at sports, fine at music.
Sure you were.
Like when I was doing,
I wasn't either. Don't worry.
No, I was like, I played baseball for years, but I like that wasn't my passion. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't gonna like hit a home run,
Yeah.
But when
I'm a short, unathletic, like kid that could never do anything on the sports field. But now we make the jerseys, now we make
that's right.
Now we make the sports logo. So we're still a part of it somehow.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, just it's one of those things where you want to be a part of this thing that you feel like innately connected to.
Yeah.
And you figure out what that is, So for me it was graphic design. And then I realized really quickly, like extremely quickly, that I had something, because I could tell from my dad. Like my dad would be like, that's not bad, and for my dad, like that's like crazy good. He's pretty subtle sometimes, but I realized like if I can keep at this, then maybe this is my thing, and maybe this can help me get into college and like learn what I want to do. So anyway, I went to or finished up in high school. I was freelancing pretty much directly out of high school.
Crazy.
I was designing band posters, like fake band posters, and posting them to gigposters.com, which is it's no longer around the website, but that's the first place I knew to where you could post your art, especially band art, because you had to know someone that knew how to build a website in 2001. So
totally.
I uploaded all this fake art. I got in a little bit of trouble with some people, but then like I also caught the attention of like some other folks. So I started designing gig posters for bands at this club in Ybor City, which is in like kind of Tampa area. So I designed a poster for this band that was playing, this hardcore band, and one of the guys in the band was Johnny Cupcakes, who's a t-shirt company owner and t-shirt designer based in Boston. So all our shirts and products were bakery themed, like t-shirts, basically riffs off of pop culture and whatnot. So I met him in 2003 and we started working together, and he'd already had his brand for about a year and a half around then. So he was already doing his thing. He was slinging t-shirts on tour with his band. And then he's like started selling more t-shirts than his band was, and he had to kind of focus on his own thing. So I really, I really just like kind of grew with him. I would say he would say the same thing. Like I grew as a designer because I didn't fully know what I was doing. Like I didn't even know how to separate like inks, for artwork. So all the artwork, like none of the ink was touching, because I thought you had to like trap the ink, for a t-shirt, So anyway,
I got you.
I learned a lot. Like the brand grew. Like we worked every day together. I was in college at that point. I went to Daytona Beach Community College at the time, got my AA, then went to University of North Florida, learned design in their design program, met some friends, did some cool stuff. And like right around that time, we opened up the first Johnny Cupcake store in downtown Boston, which is where it is now to this day. And that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, I just reposted when Johnny, or I think it was Johnny, he posted like a walkthrough of the shop, and I was just like absolutely amazed about how cool and branded and themed the shop is. And someone actually messaged me saying that they like pump cupcake like smells or something like into the building.
Yeah, there's
I
like
have no idea if that's true, but
yeah, it smells like that when you get in there. I'm not going to give away the secrets of how they do that, but
Yeah.
but
It's crazy how big that brand got in like music scene and stuff, like especially with the certain certain demographic, the explosion of My Chemical Romance and Devil Wears Prada and all that stuff. Johnny Cupcakes was definitely sprinkled into that scene quite a bit.
Very nice.
I know, right? Get a little zinger for you. But
yeah, I also follow Dale Mallet. Do you know him?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
he does like most of the t-shirts there. I think this dude named Corey does a lot of work there, and then he freelances out. I don't do any artwork for him anymore, but yeah, when I left, so I was there from 2003, and then man, I'm starting to get that age where like you forget dates and shit. He hired me in 2007. I had just graduated college, and I was designing merch for I was designing merch for bands. So like, shirts that were in Hot Topic or like the band sold on tour, all that stuff, festivals. That was mainly what I was working on, and then Johnny Cupcake. So if like in 2003 to 2006, when I was in college, I was working with Johnny Cupcakes like every day. And then the band shirt thing kind of came up, so it divided my time. And then Johnny was like, dude, piss or get off the pot. No. He's like, dude, stop. If you have time for bands, you have time for me. And I was like, all right, let's talk. So he's like, I want to hire you full time. I was like, if I can stay at home, if I can live in Florida and travel up there whenever, I'll do that if you hire me. Because my grandfather was sick at the time, or helping take care of him and stuff. So I stayed down here, and I went up there like every other month for like 2 weeks at a time. So I did that for like 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And 2010, I left because I was overwhelmed. The brand was growing. There was a lot of like growing pains. And I think because I wasn't there, that complicated things. So, so we hired Chris De Lorenzo, who's a fantastic illustrator and artist. So he really like picked up the torch and like carried the brand and made like some of the best stuff we ever did there. So he was there for, I mean, maybe 5 years or something like that. He was there for a long time. And then Dale Malott was on board as a freelancer for them. And at this point, Dale's probably done more shirts than I did at Johnny Cupcakes in my entire 10 years that I was there. So yeah, definitely. I can say this like with humility. It's like not a weird thing. Is like I helped develop or carry the style of Johnny Cupcakes because it was kind of it's still early in the early stages. So I took a lot of what they were doing and then carried it into like a brand. And I think Johnny would probably agree with that. And then that set the tone for the style and some of the concepts we were doing. And then that was carried on, same with Hellcats. It's like, I was one artist for a while, and then we had freelancers, and then Chris and all these other artists afterwards. I was one person out of like, 60 employees there at one time. Like, damn. I was such a small part of the operations that were going on that I can't take very, very much credit, even though it is a graphic t-shirt brand. Is like, without the hard work of all those people, like Kelly she still works there. This girl like has had her hand in like every bit of the business. Like, those people are really the hard workers behind the scenes that like don't get the kind of clout that someone who does the graphics or whatever, Johnny, they see the kind of magic, but they don't see the magicians behind that. It's a lot of hard work from a lot of people. So yeah, that led me to kind of like just, I think it was just ready for me to go. So we had a conversation. Johnny was like, I think it's best we kind of part both ways and just kind of work on our own things. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And by then it was 2013. And like a couple weeks after that, I got an email from the owner of Rifle Paper Company, and she said, "Hey, can you come be the interim senior designer here in our Winter Park shop?" At, it's actually still there, but I was like, I got nothing else to do right now. And then obviously that's how I met Brittany, and that put me on this whole trajectory of where my life is now. So
that's awesome.
It's worked out.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
Yeah, seriously.
Your work is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I try very hard.
We were just like oogling over it, like right before we started recording. But yeah, man, like some of your work has just been, all of it's amazing, but there's certain pieces there's just like, wow, like if only I could get close to being that good.
Stop. No, stop, dude. We're all, the thing is with design is like, I've had some really deep conversations and like personal conversations with artists that I look up to that are like, I think I'm pretty good. And then it's people that like I've idolized for years.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, we're all like that. Like,
for sure.
We look at people who we'll never meet, or that their names will never be like, there's just people that design their job. It's not like their community, like it is for some of us. There's, maybe 10% of graphic designers out there engage in graphic design community.
Yeah.
The three of us are people that obviously engage in that, but like,
for sure,
there's people that could draw circles around everybody I know, whose name you'll never know, whose work you'll like never understand. Oh, that's who did that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I remember when I started to kind of put that together. I want to say even like 5-6 years ago. I had no idea there was a whole community that I could be a part of. I had Instagram and I posted, but there's a whole community of designers that, if you want to get your name out there, you need to network with these people. And I mean, that's why we do this podcast too, is so we can talk to the designers that we look up to. And I was telling Dan from Lincoln Design Company a few weeks ago, I like to meet the people that I look up to because, it's motivation for me to get where they are in a matter of a few years, skill level, mindset, basically everything that you've said is a goal that I've set for myself that you've already reached. And so being able to talk to you about this, it's super cool because it's like, I'm inspired by that. And I hope the people all who are listening is also inspired by that. Like, I'm only 28 years old. I cannot wait to see where I'm at in another 10 years. And, it's like, I feel like the mindset of a young designer needs to be like that. Like you see a ceiling, you break through it. And, it's like, I feel like people in the design community that, our names are getting out there more and more, that's the right mindset to be on, the right path to be on.
Yeah. What's his name? I think Matthew McConaughey has a quote that's like, "My idol is myself in 10 years."
Yeah.
That's tough. That's real tough.
But I think this is a pretty good transition because I love to kind of like share some of your work on the screen. We can kind of walk through some of your works and talk about them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you put something together, or we can go through your Instagram or your website, whatever is best.
Yeah, let me pull up some stuff here.
I'm so stoked right now. You have no idea.
This is one of the more recent things that I did. This was a collaboration with my friend Jenna, who works under the name Vichcraft, VICH craft. She's an incredible artist and letterer, and she also does chain stitching, which is this really archaic or like antiquated kind of sewing machine that makes cool patterns with embroidery, but it's all done by hand on this old ass machine under the table. Basically, you have to draw with a metal wheel under the table. Wow. So anyway, I drew this artwork, and then she embroidered it with her machine. And
that's amazing.
This is just a one-off, right?
Yeah, this was a one-off. We did this to raise some money for a local charity. I think we raised like $5,000 or something like that
Very cool.
For a food pantry and food resource center here in Orlando. But yeah, so this is a good example of my work where I like to say I'm a designy illustrator. Is like I'm very rooted in both illustration and graphic design, but almost neither exclusively in some ways. And then I like to work with lettering, custom lettering. So
for sure.
Very cool.
And it's like kind of like a lot of my work bold and like minimal colors. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah. And then a lot of my work too, I would say, is kind of it's how I design my life, I guess. That's like maybe a weird phrase to say, but like our shop, if you walk in, a lot of people walk in and instantly don't know, like, is this old or new?
Yeah.
And like everything in my life is kind of like that. Like our house, is a weird mix of like a lot of antiques, but like some modern touches. So that's my artwork's kind of like that. So I did a part of how I got involved in making artwork for myself was when I was transitioning from Johnny Cupcakes. I wanted to make stuff for myself, but I never did. I never gave myself the time, and honestly, it wasn't a topic in the design community very much, at least like it is now. Like no one is ever talking about side hustles and like building your own site to sell shit. Like it was either you did it or you didn't. There was no in between. And I started making posters for a pop culture gallery in LA called Gallery 1988, and that was my first kind of foray into making stuff like art for myself to sell and then make money off of it. So I did a handful of shows. I won't show some of the first art, but I want to show you my first show that I did there. There was a solo show.
Cool.
I wanted to create some artwork that was based off of things that I collected or surrounded myself with, and I have a few cool postage stamps that I collected from decades ago.
Cool.
And I was like, what if we at first I was going to make these all vintage advertisements that you'd see in a magazine. And I was like, nope, doesn't work. It's going to be too hard, and I need to make this make a little more sense. So I went rooting through my vintage like kind of cabinet and saw some postage stamps. I was like, I'm going to do a show that is, what if these postage stamps lived in these fictional worlds, or they were like nodding to fictional worlds on a postage stamp? Like, what would that look like?
For sure.
So I'll go through here. Oh,
sick.
This was my first solo show. So I basically wanted to, and this was me actually, I started doing this thing in like the like early 2010s or whatever, where I was trying to make the most complicated shit I can and really impress people with like all the bells and whistles. I wanted people to be like, damn, dude, that guy can draw or design or whatever bullshit, right?
I actually totally hear you on that.
Well, at a certain point, you're like, is this good or is this like just complicated or technical? For me, I think it was both, but I got like really kind of tired of trying to trick everything out. And I was like, what would it look like if I just pulled back and restrained myself? So this was one of my first shows, one of my first kind of full-on experiments and doing a ton of work. It was not trying to trick out every little detail of, the illustrations.
Yeah. That's that funny you say that, because just with some of your work in particular that I've always been so impressed with is some of the ones that like aren't fully blown out and are just like super to the point. And I say, like, in my head, like, that's perfect because it doesn't need anything else. You just captured it exactly how it should be, and that is what's cool about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I started to realize that like you can, sometimes it's just more impressive to like pull back, and sometimes it's how people connect with things. So anyway, I'll just kind of run through here.
Especially if you do it properly. Like
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like there are times that are like there's nothing there, and you're just like, what is this piece? But that's never the case with yours. But it's just like I see some other people when they think that just like putting a circle or a square there works. It's like, all right, come on, you got to be a little bit more creative here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's rules, there's tricks, there's things you can do to help. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's things that you can like take away, like lighting tricks or like what's called like cut throughs. I'll show you some cool cut throughs here in a little bit. Obviously I love Count Chocula, so I had to sneak them in
These
there.
are so cool, dude.
Sea monster, so sick. What is that? Like the
creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, that's it.
But doing things where like if you look right here in the middle of like this nail of the hand and then the bathing suit, there's 4 colors that all connect in the middle there, but none of them are obviously the same color.
Yeah.
You're just like doing these little tricks that make your eye. It's like a fun little puzzle that you're kind of building together. And I'm getting away with like bisecting the face into a shadow. Like, am I doing that because I didn't want to draw that? No, obviously I just like mirror that, duplicate it.
Yeah, exactly.
But like you're doing something kind of fun by like only the eye sneaks through. I didn't invent that trick, but like I'm using it in a way that gets to the point. And then I'm sneaking in some like little tricks on like just this cool custom 3.
For sure.
So I didn't go too crazy with lettering on a lot of these. So I could show off just a little bit, not get out of hand.
Dude,
here's an example. Thanks, man. Here's an example of cut throughs. This is like kind of a tattoo term. Is like this line coming through here knocks out what's below it, or some people call them a knock through, cut through, either one. And you're just flipping the colors as you go through. It's like a checkerboard pattern essentially in this example, but it's showing the movement that was going on in that scene without doing anything. You're just drawing some damn rectangles.
Yeah. Pathfinder.
This is a very like silly example. This is almost bad, I think, but it's like it's doing some things in a smart way to where it's not. If you zoom really far out on this, it looks really good. If it gets too big, I don't know. But what's funny about
know exactly what it is right away.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's
the
fun part.
You're doing all these tricks, like you're getting the hoodie, with the triangle. Like at a certain point, it's like, dude, you're just drawing a triangle. You're not tricking me. But all these little dumb tricks like that you're throwing together make it all work together. The funny thing about this one and this one is after I did this show, I got an email from NBC Universal. And I thought I was going to get in trouble, like for some reason. And they're basically like, yo, we like that show. Can you do some artwork for our office?
You're kidding.
Yeah. It's crazy. So they took this piece, the creature, and that they wanted it. And I was like, no, I'll redo something better, because I didn't really like the ET one.
Yeah.
Or I did not like it. I didn't like it for them.
Yeah,
I liked it for the show. And because this was, going to be blown up like massively in their offices. Anyway.
Did you tag them and that's how they found you? Or how, like, was it?
I think either they followed the gallery or someone from the studio went to the show, because the show was in LA and NBC's offices are in LA as well.
Gotcha.
So obviously Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, again, just like a lot of rectangles, but you like get the gist. Point. So
and you've eliminated the need to have all the detail. Simple you're using simple shapes, a limited color palette, and you're telling the story. You didn't need Freddy Krueger's face in this. You already know the character, so you know what's behind the darkness. Like, it's fucking. This is a real treat, Clark. This is a real treat.
Colorways are perfect too, and like shadows. Like, again, this.
Thank you.
Master at work. Anyone watching?
Yeah.
But this is probably out of the entire series, one of the more simplified ones. This is a good example of me training my brain to see things differently than the style that I'm used to. And I try and church it up and be like, it's like jazz, because the jazz players, they had to learn the scales before they could learn to forget them. You know, that's how I like try and sound like an asshole when I'm talking about this stuff. But I think it's real. I think it's real is like, if you're a designer and you've been, you know, if you're 2 years into this career, or this your studies or whatever, like doing stuff like this is a little like, learn to draw first, then do shit like this. Because you start to figure out how to actually do it. And that's kind of, at least me looking back at this stuff and being like, yeah, if you wanted me to draw like a really tricked out Freddy Krueger, like I could do it, you know, like, but does that fulfill me, or does that like allow me to do this exercise? And that's what this was for me, was like an exercise of, you know, taking these characters and like figures and stuff and simplifying them and implementing these like tricks that I've thought about for a long time, but I've never really done much with, you know, like this Jason, like pulling this line all the way through. There's no real reason to do it, just to box in the scent, you know, the cost of that. And by the way, from what I remember, all the prices of the stamps correlate to when the movies came out. So like stamps were 13 cents when Friday the 13th came out.
Cool.
This is probably my favorite from the show.
Badass.
I just love the teeth, like the shadow and the eyes, just like a fun little trick. But you're just getting all this like cool, simple geometry to like lock into place. And anyway,
your colorways are just perfect too. I love.
Thank you.
Oh, this is sick.
I'll rip through these real quick because I have a bunch of stuff. I did a He-Man, you know, I had to do a Skeletor.
That's so badass, man.
So good. That one, they're all
huge
great.
2001: A Space Odyssey. So locked in the monolith is the container for the space station. So this whole set was a real good refresher for me on like spacing and like scale. You know, like understanding what good spacing and scale can be. So I learned a lot kind of from myself kind of doing this. There's Indiana Jones in the middle fighting like all the dudes.
So good.
Anyway.
Nice.
All right, so I'm gonna exit out of here just because I have some more shit I want to show you. Actually, I love this X-Men one. So you can see that in there with the X in the background. Anyway, this is one of my favorite things that I had done in a long time up to that point. Looking back on it, I realized how much of a like kick in the pants that was for me to like be like re-energized and to just make stuff for fun. So I said that let me stop this share here.
I feel like sometimes too it's really difficult to create work for yourself because you can create anything you want, like and there's not enough direction because we're so used to client work and them creating a graphic that completes a mission or completes a direction that is provided to us. And so what I admire with that show is that you kept to like a plot or a theme throughout all of them. And so you gave almost yourself direction that probably was sparking some creative like
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how to put it. Is I gave myself certain restraints to adhere to, and that helped me create. You know, it's like if I'm going to create only things that I loved as a kid, well, I know I'm going to do Ghostbusters. I love Stay Puft, like the easy, you know, well, how do I draw that? And then like, what tricks can I do? So in that Stay Puft one, he's reflecting off of the side of the building. So like I got to fit in like a cool little trick there. It was just a way to kind of show off a little bit. Like, stay restrained and just show what
I feel like at the end of it too, you're also like, yep, like this works. It completed what I was trying to do here versus like the never ending graphic design or the never ending graphics that you go and try to make. And you're like, is it good? Like I'll go back to it tomorrow or I'll go back to it the next day. Like, because you never know what that final should have been.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So here's what happened.
Yes.
NBC Universal were like, hey, we like that shit. And they gave me like a week and a half to do like, I think it was 15 illustrations.
Oh, a week and a half?
Yeah, dude, that's the story of my life is I get some dream job and they give me like no time at all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 2 a day, 2.5 a day.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys recognize this?
Power Rangers?
No, it's it's on the top of my head. It's on the top of my head.
This is from, I forget.
Thundercats.
I'm a little older than you guys. What's that?
Was it Thundercat? No, not Thundercat.
I'll let you think about it.
Oh yeah. No, the horror stuff I'll be way familiar with.
This is the sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's cutting out a little bit there. Yeah, one of the cool things about this project is they like some of the like the creature that I did. They really like that. So they were like, let's do some of the Universal monsters as well, you know. So it was like it was what I would do if I was given the opportunity to do whatever the hell I wanted. So to get the opportunity to actually do it for like the company was pretty surreal.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Of course, Back to the Future.
Got
that one.
Yes.
The Dracula from it. Frankenstein.
Very nice.
Oh, that's my dog.
And again, I'm pulling in some of these tricks, you know, like this kind of knock through, like highlight shadow kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
Wild Giant would love that one.
Jurassic Park.
You got the floating lights over here.
Yeah.
You know.
And in this style, you can get away with this kind of stuff. That's pretty badass.
Psycho, one of my favorites. Voltron. I forget. I'm older than you guys. It's a little bit, you know, a little old guy stuff.
You're gonna tell us.
So
we're gonna cliffhanger. Are we ever gonna know what it's from?
Oh, Voltron. Sorry.
Yeah, Voltron. That's right. Our audience goes like, nerds, you don't even know.
Yeah, I know.
We get canceled right here after this episode.
Right?
We're fucked, Cam.
I can't believe you guys don't know Voltron.
It looks familiar. You know, like in Power Rangers though, when they like beef up, like what's it called? When they
transform.
Yeah, when they get together and
their Megazords and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that Voltron I believe predated Power Rangers. So Power Rangers were probably a little more in y'all's
that was mine.
Yeah, Power Rangers was
my shit.
I remember that first season of Power Rangers with the Green Ranger Tommy, Jason David Frank.
You have like a poster of him in the back. So
I do.
So
now you were talking about Ninja Turtles. I've showed this on the podcast. I actually have signed autograph of the guy who was in the Secret of the Ooze Michelangelo suit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Man, I love that one. That one I feel like it's like kind of got critically panned.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But the third one, when they went to like China back in time and all that stuff, like that one should be shit on more than Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, I think that one does. I like them both, to be honest.
I love them both too. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll move on and show you guys some stuff that I did kind of based on that. After that postage show, they kind of came back and they're like, hey, we like what you did for that show. What else you got? I was like, do you want me to do more postage stamps or something different? like something different. So I wanted to kind of keep it in the same kind of realm. So I did vintage travel labels. Like, what would it look like if you went to like, you know, this one city that this thing happened, and you went to the hotel and they gave you like a luggage tag for your luggage. So, anyways, this is what I ended up doing.
Holy
awesome.
shit! So did you pitch
Is
that
it
idea
on-
to them and then they sign off on it? And are you giving some sort of like sketches prior, or is this kind of just like full faith in you and see what you come up with?
Yeah, so this one, I'm friends with the gallery owner, so I think he kind of trusted me to kind of do my thing. But yeah, I would pitch them the idea, and then they would approve the idea, and then I would send them a couple images as like reference or like finished pieces, and be like, "This is the vibe," and then from there I would get like the green light. So that
And
was
you obviously have a very large,
strong fascination with
with movies
Back to
and
the Future.
well, I was just gonna say everything because like Biff Tannen's like I mean, if you watch Back to the Future, you probably would get this. But if at first glance, like if you don't know the show well enough, you would not know who Biff Tannen is, right?
Yep, exactly.
So
And
yeah, it's definitely
If
like
you haven't
like a
watched
bit of
Back
a
to the
deep
Future, what are you doing with your life?
Yes, stop this right now. Hit pause.
Yes.
But yeah, these were prints that I did, and then I made this. Sorry. So I made prints, and then I made actual like stickers for these
Cool.
for these pieces, so that you could like actually buy them and then put them on whatever. So this is from Twin Peaks. It's a very specific reference, but see, I'm still doing these tricks like drawing in this line directly into the statue's base. This is from The Mummy. I love The Mummy that came out with Brendan Fraser back in the late 90s,
Cinnamon!
Yeah.
Cinnamon! I love that movie too.
Super
yeah,
nice with the eyes. I didn't get that to the very end, but
yeah, I wanted it really subtle
sick.
because of the dust storm, you know, that happened. But yeah, these are all like badge shapes. So like, how do we put really cool like custom lettering, you know, some cool expressive type, whatever you want to say, and this as well as just like really smart like illustrations, obviously.
Some of my favorite stuff is just when it's just like all balanced perfectly in a shape, and you know, have something different that works.
This like straight down like vertical line there.
I like the double moon for Tatooine.
Yeah. You can sneak in like cool little references and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nice. This one's sick.
But yeah, this is like supposed to look like a little life preserver or whatever.
Yeah.
Funny fact, I was on a plane one time from Boston, and I was sitting next to the lady that played Jason Voorhees' mom in like the second or third one. I forget her name, but she was sitting next to me on a plane. I was like, what's your deal? Because she clearly had a deal. She's like, oh, I was in, you know, she's like, have you heard of Friday the 13th? I was like, I've heard of Friday. Yes. She told me. I was like, oh man, I love that one. I forget if it was the second or third one.
You're like, oh, I did this design. You want to see? she's like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was before I did this show, but
gotcha.
Anyway. We're here in Orlando. Of course, the best ride at Disney World is the Haunted Mansion. I've never been to the one in Anaheim. I heard that one's cooler, but
it's cool.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I've always heard one in Florida is cooler. I don't know. Everyone seems to just say that.
Oh, okay. Do they decorate it like a Nightmare Before Christmas in Florida?
I don't know.
Around
I want to say yes, but
Christmas time.
I don't think so. Don't quote me.
Halloween. Yeah, usually around Halloween, they'll like change our version to Nightmare Before Christmas. So you'll have all of those characters riddled throughout the whole thing. It's really cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think I'm probably gonna get murdered by people online not knowing. But this is like a deep cut. This is from Indiana Jones.
Love that. Just fits per. Oh god, that was amazing.
These are definitely. I was like trying to like trick out some. I was trying to like show off a little bit more here than on the postage one, especially because there's a lot more lettering going on in this one. This from Ghostbusters, huge Ghostbusters fan. This is like an opening scene in the public library in New York.
Oh yeah.
Huge Shining fan. Love
Nice.
the movie.
What did you think of
fine.
the movie they recently did? What was it?
The Ghostbusters or The Shining?
The Shining. They just recently, I forgot the name of the movie that they just did.
Oh yeah. No, I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Maybe I should watch that tonight. Yeah. I'm blanking on the name of it, but
yeah, same. But I heard it was okay. Like I haven't heard anything bad about it. So, but I'm always the kind of person
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm always the kind of person where I don't take people's bad reviews until I watch it.
True. Yeah, it's good. It's a good way to live.
Yeah, I'd rather have my own opinion about it.
That's smart. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Come on,
that's so cool.
Like I say, Rocketeer. If you never saw it, go watch it.
Beautiful.
Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah.
This I really like this one. This one just felt like special to me. I don't know the whole series. Again.
Wow.
I'm not like a Disney guy. Like I enjoy going, but we definitely love the spookier rides there.
Yeah.
Tricked out this guy.
I follow a guy who's amazing Disney work. Adam Grayson.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last one. So yeah, showing you all this stuff is like so you can familiarize with like who the hell is this guy that's even talking or whatever, but like more so kind of showing off like what I've taken away from my career, like what are the little tricks and the things that make my work unique. And for me, that is making commercial graphics that feel like at least somehow special to the thing that you're doing it. I know that's like very basic, but can easily get like missed over is like, how can you put your stamp on something to make it your own? And for me, that's just between my love of illustration and commercial graphic design, especially like mid-century things. So
that's very cool, dude.
because of
like your level of these graphics heighten everything because of your knowledge of each of the movies and the shows and whatever. Like
100%.
If anyone was just to give this project to someone who hadn't seen one of these movies, and even if they went and tried to research online and like find out something, they probably would have done something that was way more down like middle lane. But you've always found something because you're true to each of these parts that just pop and make it stand out and are original and authentic.
Yeah, my best jobs are things that I'm most familiar in, like wrestling graphics or, like the Tom Segura stuff that I did last year. It, knowing these movies make it that much more special because you're putting a part of yourself into them. And I just think that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a good takeaway too. Sorry, Clark.
Go ahead.
It's a good takeaway for anyone that's watching that, like, because we've always said in the past that like you should put out work that you want to receive back. And if you are trying to get into a space that you're really, familiar with or really stoked on, then start creating that work on your side or make it a priority. So that way, just like what happened to Clark, they come out and reach out to you, and then all of a sudden, the dream is working for you.
Yeah.
1,000%. Like y'all are like both spot on. Is like the thing that I've learned. I've learned it the hard way too. Is like people can suss out when you're not being authentic to who you are. That we have, I think, as people and like society, we've had to become like really defensive and like sniff out like, what's real and what's not,
For sure.
And even if that's not that important, it's core to like who you should be to be as like comfortable with who you are or hopefully people, are like that. But as like a creative or like a, someone who makes art, we we get one life and we get one chance to show what we got, and I want people to connect that and look at that stuff that I do, be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's honest, at least, or whatever. The other part of that is like you become, you don't want to become the artist that's known for this thing that you don't actually like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's whether that's the kind of work that you're doing. If it's like, I don't like doing websites, or I don't like doing brochures. It's like, well, don't put that shit in your portfolio. Take it out instantly. That's kind of cliche or whatever. But the other part of that is like, if you don't like doing this kind of artwork, or you're faking the funk on some shit, you're gonna get that stuff stays online forever. Like, you put it on your site, you take it down, that's probably gonna be on someone else's like Pinterest board, and it's gonna get connected to your name. So if you don't like the kind of stuff that you're doing, stop doing it. Like
100%.
Be true to the stuff you're making. If you're like if you have some like outdoorsy like design brand where you're screen printing like mountains or something on like fanny packs or whatever, but you've never been in on a mountain, or you like not a hiker, or you don't wear fanny packs, it's like you're kind of faking the funk. So
totally.
And we all go through these things where we figure out who we are, and it takes not being authentic, and it takes trying things out to get there. We're not all born with impeccable taste, or like with the most honest to ourselves, because we're humans, right?
Yep.
But
100%.
when you start to figure these things out, and you start to figure out who you are, what you like, what makes you special or unique or connects you to other human beings, then like find those little Venn diagrams of your personality or your interests. Start like putting those things together, and that's how you start figuring out who you are, what your voice is, or your style and stuff.
100%.
And then when it comes to making a product that you want to sell or whatever, it makes way more sense, because you're engulfed in that community, or you're like a part of that thing. Like, I have friends that are way into like jiu-jitsu and like Muay Thai and stuff like that. It's like, if you're trying to make like a Muay Thai like t-shirt company or something, and you've never been in the octagon or whatever crazy shit, they can sniff that out. That community
for sure
knows what's going on. What I mean? Like, you don't want to mess with that or whatever. So anyway, I've learned those lessons of like, I made product that wasn't honest to myself, because I thought people would buy it. And the second that I spent 3 days screen printing a 4-colored poster that I knew nothing about, and I went to go sell it, no one cared, because they probably sniffed that out, or I was just trying to do that thing. And I learned, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to sit on 100 posters that cost me however much and took me 4 days to print. I'm going to make the shit that I like. That way, if I don't sell one, I can give them all to my friends. I can give those t-shirts that never sold to my friends. And when I see them walking around with them, I can be proud that I like that design. And I'm not instantly shamed because I did some bullshit that no one liked. And my friends are reminding me whenever I see them wear that shirt. So when we do stuff for Hellcats, everything we put out, we would buy for ourselves or buy for a friend. Smart. Or we would want ourselves or make for ourselves. So if there's any lesson or smart thing that you've heard from me, it's the lesson that I've learned. When you're not true to the kind of shit that you like, or that's core to you, for better or worse, like it's just harder to connect that when it's not true to you. So anyway,
man. That was
off of my
I was gonna say there's probably no better way to end this show than seriously say that. Like, there's really nothing else to be said, because I think you really put a cherry on top there.
Nailed it on the head, man.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us today, dude, and sharing your work, sharing your knowledge. I think
Clark, this has been a real treat. Not only like we have guests on, and we get in chit-chatting and all that stuff, and it's a really good time, but I feel so inspired by you and everything that you have been talking to us about in the last like hour. Man, seriously, it's been an honor to have you on here, man.
Cool. Well, I appreciate like anytime someone is interested in anything I do, especially like a podcast when I used to have a podcast. I know how much work it is. I know like it's not just sitting down having a cool conversation. There's a ton of work. So appreciate you guys even being interested to bring me on and chat. So hopefully we can meet in the future at one of these design conferences or something.
We're going to be at Design Con if you're going to be there.
Yep, we will be there.
Man, I wish. You go this year?
Yeah, we're gonna go this year, but
it's coming up, right?
Yeah, in like a month or so. But yeah, man, it'll happen. You know, we're not going anywhere. We've had such a blast doing this podcast, and we've been really, really fortunate to get the amount of guests. You know, like Lincoln Design Company and all those guys over there, and Draplin and whatnot. We've been really fortunate to get, guests like you to network. And so we're not going anywhere. We're having a good time. We're going to be at these conferences. We're going to meet a bunch of people.
We had Matt Dawson on. He gave us the invite to CropCon, and we are taking him up. Matt Dawson, if you're watching.
We're just collecting pals. I know that
you're a part
now
of that.
You're our pal.
Clark.
I'm an official member of the Pentool Pals. I like the name of the podcast. Yeah, it's if you know, you know what I mean.
So to end this, Clark, for people who maybe don't know who you are, where can they find you? Instagram, social media, website, and all that.
Yeah, you can find me at Clark Orr, ClarkOrr on Instagram or Twitter, or any of that stuff. You can also follow along with what we're doing at Hellcats at Hellcats.USA on Instagram, and we got a TikTok and all that stuff. My wife runs it, so if you send a message or anything, I might not see it on that. So if anybody has any questions, I guess, of like any of the work that I did, you can hit me up directly at Clark Orr. But yeah, you can check out our website, hellcatsusa.com. Keep up with what we're doing. I have a ton of new stuff coming out. I guess I didn't even show that stuff, but you can look online and see all the fun stuff we do.
For sure.
We'll just keep in touch and have it back on, and then we can share some of that stuff next time.
I'll send you the video. I'll just have a video made of like what's it called, like an infomercial.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
You can start. You can start.
You can do our bumper. You can do our bumper at the end.
Yeah. Hey pals, Clark Orr, I'm back. Show you a little thing. All right, man. Well, hey, man, thank you for being a pal, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Clark.
Likewise. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, have a good rest of your Monday.
Peace.
Thank you for being a pal.
They're still here.
We're still here. Hey, pals. Thank you for watching another episode of Pentool Pals. Do us a favor, go smash that like button, as the kids say nowadays. Like, subscribe, and if you're new to the podcast, check out our other videos. We've got a pretty good catalog of other episodes you can watch. And as always, thank you for being a pal.